Hello.
We're live.
I believe we should start talking about a little movie. I can't do it. Can you help? Can you do it?
No.
What's your best Henry Cavill or Agent Solo
Oh my gosh.
impersonation you can do?
So basically a Russian accent.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not even gonna like.
He's so straightforward. I don't.
Extreme proper English.
I believe how we should start this podcast is
There we
the
go.
best way I can really think how to do it is just talk about our general thoughts.
You really
about things.
pronounce every noun and every verb.
I feel like that's a good way for a British person to do an English accent. Like really
An
go
American
for it.
accent.
Just
I think
Thank
it's
you.
the only
an
way.
American accent. Yeah, because when someone is an American doing a British accent, it's the most insane British accent, like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. Like, oh, Mary Poppins! I'm the lie, I'm the lie, I'm the lie.
I feel like it's harder to go that way
Yeah, it is.
versus British to English.
Absolutely.
American by English. I guess they speak English across the pond.
In case you didn't know, we're here to talk about The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I hear some people say The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Is that right?
I've heard some
Are
people
you
say that.
supposed to?
No.
Is it proper?
I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
Okay.
It's
I'm sure Joe would tell us all about it if he was here.
I'm sure.
But he's not.
What a sucker. It's your fault, Joe.
It
Should've
is your
been
fault,
here.
Joseph.
And you could have argued with us, I guess. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is a movie that we saw on...
You always say it
We
this way.
did?
Man from U.N.C.L.E. is a movie we saw. Transformers was a
It's
movie we saw.
we did see. That's
Fantastic Four is a
Whether or not
movie
we
we
liked
wish
it
we
is
didn't
still up in
see.
the air.
We should probably start with that fact. I feel like, seeing it is the first step. I mean, we listen. If any
We've
of
laid our eyes
I
upon
mean,
this
part
film.
of this is a spoiler cast, so I would assume the audience thinks we've seen it.
for all you guys who are out
We just
there, in the
read
movie,
it
we have
online.
not seen.
what a bunch of posers.
We're
I
gonna
bet they didn't
spitball.
even see this movie. Well, lay your fears to
We're
rest.
just gonna spitball.
Oh,
without
wait,
watching.
I'll dash them right now. We did see this movie.
Watch
'Cause
the
it's-
trailer over and over
We
again
even
and
saw
just
it
put it in the
together.
spot.
We pretty much have an idea of how we can judge this movie. No, we saw this. We saw it together.
We did
One happy family.
as a team.
One happy family.
Or family.
We fought off people talking in the theater
I
as a
did.
team.
Manisha,
No,
no,
I did.
I sat
That's
back
true.
and let Manisha do it because I know I'll do
We were
it
there
for sure.
in spirit for her.
Yeah.
They
They were there for me physically if I needed it.
I've done it several times
This is
before, but I'm so certain that Manisha will do it. I won't be bothered. I'll just be like, all right.
They're not gonna hate me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not this time.
I don't want to have to focus on doing this. I'll just let Manisha do it, and you did it.
Yeah, I have to say, this woman was in her 40s. Come on, people.
What was she saying? Like that?
Is that Superman?
Oh, it is Superman.
I think it is
It
Superman.
seems like it's becoming more of an issue. I feel like maybe I didn't pay attention as much when I was younger, but man, recently it's really been bothering me. And I'm not that old yet. I should not be that much of a curmudgeon yet. I am only 28 years old. I should be dealing with this in my late 40s.
We're gonna talk about this in front of every single spoiler cast. You know what? I don't care.
Shut up in the theater. That's our
Just
mission
Be quiet.
here at MTV.
React to the movie, not to the person next to you.
Don't overdo it. Let's be clear. Don't overdo it. Don't be slapping your knees,
Oh my
laughing.
But
Anything like
even
that.
then, though,
There's a
at least they're
proper
enjoying the movie and not, oh, hey, the person next to you. I mean, I had my boss just told me about a story where he was in Jurassic World and the person was having a full-out conversation with someone else.
It's my nightmare. It's my
Like,
nightmare.
not even about the
That's what I
movie.
was telling Jordan about Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
Same thing happened.
Just talking. And then she answered her phone. And I was like, oh, I would have taken that phone and snapped it in half if I could.
And listen to you people out there, just because it's a quiet moment, not dialogue isn't happening or action isn't happening, that doesn't mean it's okay to talk.
That's the worst time.
exactly.
This
There's
is the worst
loud
time.
whisper.
Or
When there's a
or
huge
the
action
opposite
scene.
of that. Yeah. And then you yell during the action scene
Oh
and
my
you're just
God.
like,
Big explosion.
oh my gosh.
It's okay then.
Be
At
kind
least
and
I can't
hear
courteous to the
you.
people around you. And if you have to tell someone to be quiet, just be nice about it and have guys in case someone wants to get physical.
And just to know, those quiet moments in a movie aren't there just to be fill in time or whatever. They're
Oh my
there
gosh.
to build atmosphere. and not let. And when someone
That's a
talks,
good word.
it takes you out of the freaking movie.
There's
It
a
takes you out
certain
of the setting.
category in the Oscars for that part. It's called filmography.
Yeah,
That's what the middle parts are for, to build atmosphere,
stuff
to
that
build
appreciates.
suspense.
And, you know.
There are no breaks in
Character
movies.
building.
This is not a play. It is a movie.
All right,
You focus on the whole thing.
lecture, weekly lecture over. So, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Let's talk about it. I feel like we needed to hurry up and do this podcast. It was getting thrown around if we should do it Sunday. I was like, I can't do that because I feel like for some reason my opinions and my thoughts of the movie I start slipping away, and I need to watch this movie again.
You start watching other things.
Yeah.
Games.
Start watching movies like Space Jam. We start thinking about that and getting opinions about other movies. But anyways. So let's go ahead and talk about our general thoughts. Yeah, I watched Space Jam last night. Anyways, let's go ahead and start things off. Luke, what are some of your general thoughts about how you're feeling about The Man from U.N.C.L.E?
So much fun. Just really enjoyed myself. It was what I was hoping it would be, and probably a little bit more. There's general thoughts.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it general.
My general thoughts is I think I'm on the same page. I had a fun time with this movie. It was easy and light on the palate. I didn't have to overthink during this movie because a lot of spy movies, I feel like I'm boggled down with what's going? Yeah, what's
Light on the
I don't like cucumbers.
Okay.
But
Never mind.
so I feel like a lot of spy movies, I kind of get bogged down with the plot a little too much. Sometimes I'm like, what's going on? Okay, so that person's there because
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Don't even get me started.
Let's not.
I knew you were going to respond that way.
Let's
Worse.
not.
All right.
No.
Sorry.
No.
I'm sure a lot of people like that movie.
I'm sure a lot of people like that movie, but I tell you, it's no one.
Did I
who's on
fall
this
asleep
podcast.
during
Everyone
that
has to
movie?
agree. It
No,
was hard
let me
to
tell
follow.
Did
I
we turn
watched
it
this
off?
movie with you and Andrew out there and a few other people, and I was there, and I'm looking around the room. Everyone's asleep around me, and trust me, I wanted to join you guys too, and I was like,
why am I awake?
all right, wake up, the movie's freaking over. Anyways, not like that. I didn't feel bogged down. It was really light on the palate. I feel like anyone can watch this movie and have a good time, and I had a really great time. Really stylistic and fun. General thoughts.
I mean, I agree with you and Luke. I thought it was very funny, very enjoyable. It was very lighthearted, and I definitely feel like, it's sort of a movie if the family could go and see and have fun and enjoy, There was nothing in it that I'd be like, oh, no, you can't have a 6-year-old see this. I think it would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
It was very entertaining. I actually did not have high hopes for this movie, and so I didn't think it was going to fail. I had no expectations. I also knew nothing about it, and I still highly enjoyed it too.
It was a conversation I'm really excited to have at the end of this podcast. Anyways,
what?
Never mind. We'll get there.
Teaser.
So, all right, let's go ahead and break it down like we usually do. We have the good and the bad section. Good stuff, bad stuff. Let's go ahead and start like we always do, starting off positive.
Oh, man. Okay.
You always do this.
So, I know. I just had my bad thing ready, so never mind. It's fine. I'll write it down.
Change up your thoughts. All right, let's talk about the good stuff. We'll go ahead and start us off. The good stuff right off the bat. This film is beautiful in multiple levels. First off, I'll just get this out of the way. I know Manisha's chomping at the bit to start talking about this. These are the most attractive people I've ever seen in my life. My girlfriend couldn't make it to this showing because she was out of town, and she wanted to see it. And I told her afterwards, I don't know if I want you watching that movie. My inadequacies will shine so much brighter after. I'm like, I need to do some freaking push-ups or whatever. Nothing that I could ever do.
Armie Hammer was normal, well balanced though. I mean, Henry Cavill was just because of Superman.
Yeah.
So I don't think he would have been that big.
But
they are both very beautiful, and I completely 100% back up that statement. I love Henry Cavill.
And secondly, this movie is filmed. It's gorgeous.
It is.
It looks like a 60s movie, but without the grain. It has the same coloring it expected for a 60s movie, but it's nice and clear. It's gorgeous to look at, and seeing the different locales they go to
Guy Ritchie, man.
Yeah, he knows how to film stuff like that. It's a lot of just it really draws you in to where they are, into the world they've built here, and it just everything goes hand in hand when like having this feel of the 60s, but having like some modern like takes on everything. It's not like a 60s and like the way it's acted. It's not the way 60s and like the way the action is, but just kind of the way it looks. And obviously the music added a lot to that. But that's huge. Like just how the movie looked, I thought was just really appealing. Really fond of that. All right, good stuff.
I apologize ahead of time for anyone who has seen the TV show and is basing their opinions on the TV show, because I think I can speak for all three of us when we say we haven't seen that. So
Nope.
Its relation to the old material, I think I could say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be referring to that. But that being said, using just this movie as the ballast, I really like the way this story is kind of told, and how I mean that. I feel that it could feel like a James Bond, type of film, but it doesn't. Like, it has a unique feel to me, and that's what I like about it so much. Guy Ritchie, I think, kind of came at it from a pretty original angle, whereas he could have made it, like I said, look like a James Bond film, look like some other English-made film. It didn't feel like that. I mean, it felt like a Guy Ritchie film. I could tell it was that, but it just, the way the story flowed, I felt like it built upon itself very well. You started to know these characters more and more, and started to kind of connect with them and their angle and their reason for this or that, different motivations, and like the girls. And it was so cool the way it kind of built upon itself. And like Jordan said, the way that it was filmed was just very well. It fit the styling. It didn't feel like it was any other film, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
I'll agree with that. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie. Like, when you see this movie, a lot of it, like plot-wise and action-wise, isn't so unique. But just the whole of it is very unique, just like the movie as a whole. And I like it, but it's in a way to where it can actually be compatible with like comparing it to other spy movies. Like, I think it like successfully cut itself out a piece of the pie of like spy movies, like alongside of Mission Impossible and James Bond. Whether this is just getting started. I'm not saying like the greatness and like what it's accomplished has reached the heights of those two franchise, but the potential.
I feel like it stole their thunder.
No, it's a different thing, and like people who enjoy those movies might find other things about this movie to enjoy, like parts of the humor of James Bond, or maybe the styling of the old James Bond, and stuff like that can like add upon like what's in this movie. Manisha.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with what both of you are saying. It was beautifully shot, beautiful people, including the females that were in it.
Oh yeah. Swoops.
I mean, Henry they are the most beautiful in the movie, but no, yeah, it was beautifully shot. What I really liked about it was the character development. I really liked that they were, enemies for like 5 seconds, and then they like slowly grew, but they weren't like instantly like, oh, bam, we're partners. And I really liked that about the movie, that it wasn't like, oh, we have to work together, we're gonna do the best we can. Like, there was always that little side of like, no, I don't like you. But I do have your back. So I like that, because I feel like in a lot of movies, it's like, oh, well, we have to work together, we're going to become friends instantly. And this was definitely a developmental movie. And I sort of see it as in between, like, which is in one extreme to another, but like the feel of like you get with like movies sort of like 21 Jump Street, and then like bringing it to like Mission Impossible. Like, it's an in-between of that, because it's still comical, it's fun, there's action, but it's not like nearly as serious as that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, I thought that was really good. I thought the actors did a really good job. I saw a movie that Henry Cavill was in, and it was not good. And so I was a little like, I wonder how he's gonna do in this role that's not like the normal macho man type guy that he plays. And he did really well, and Armie Hammer did well, and his accent was convincing.
Yeah,
so that was real good. I really like that. He said he watched I watched an interview with them, and Armie Hammer said he watched a Russian like occupational therapist or something, like
What?
on YouTube, like to get the act, something like that. But just talking about
Interesting.
his profession, and that's one of the ways he picked it up. I'm like, that's pretty cool, and it paid off.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with this movie, like that their team, like the team that they have there,
Mhm.
those two characters, like they did a really good job of like making you like both people, because at first I was like, like you connect to Henry Cavill. He's a character we know, the cool, suave American spy. But then you throw in Armie Hammer, and he's like, kind of like the Russian. He's like usually the guy that they're against, and so like he won me over. I really thought I found him endearing. Like his anger issues, I found them like funny, kind of. They were like how like crazy he was. But like I didn't think I was gonna be able to relate to him, to like actually latch onto him while like seeing the trailers, and I actually did. They did a great job with that.
He was distinctly different than Henry
Yeah,
Cavill.
Absolutely. He wasn't just like
and likable in his own way.
Agreed.
He had his own like shortcomings and his own insecurities. And I like when you see the trailers or like have any assumptions of what that character usually is, like the cliche Russian guy, he's usually just a tough as nails guy. And that's it. Like just a blunt instrument. And like while he's that, he's a lot more. And so like he's not like the most deepest character of all time, but he's deep enough to where you can like latch on to him just as much as you can latch on to Henry Cavill's character.
Yeah. No, I agree. And something about this movie I realized, because I guess the show was really popular for when it came on, and I could totally see from watching this movie how that show in the 60s probably was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and like I really like if it's anything like it, or
I definitely like to go back and watch it.
Like it was something to be like, this could be really entertaining. So, yeah.
I think there's some of this on Amazon Prime. I believe if any of you want to go back and watch it there.
And Google Play, there was several places.
Okay.
One other specific thing about the movie, I thought like it started off really well with the first scene, but all the action scenes, I really liked the way they were filmed. Like. How he was shooting at him, but it didn't like actually show him really shooting, and then it showed the bullet holes and showed him leaning back. It was really fast motion, like this and then that, and then this, and it was just I thought that was cool the way they did that. It just so many things about this movie, like the word to me is just unique. It's so hard, I feel like, in movies now with so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of movies that have been filmed, to really like cut out, like you said, your piece of the pie and say, I'm unique. This is the way I'm going to tell the story, and it not be like, oh, well, that's just a knockoff of that, or that's just a knockoff of that. And yeah, this takes notes from other things. Of course it does. But it really did feel unique to me. It was like, this is fun. It's a somewhat serious, spy movie that is, got comedy elements to it, but it's pretty serious. And the way it was shot, it just was just a unique way of taking it. And to me, that was like the biggest thing that shot out at me. It's just like, this is a movie in and of itself. It's not it's not a copy like so many movies. I feel like so many comedies, for instance, that come out now. It seems like that's literally almost the exact same movie that such and such a studio came out with, and this wasn't that. We just saw Rogue Nation, and it felt so much different. I mean, it didn't take place in the same timeline, but the way it was filmed and just the feel of it was distinctly different, even though they're both somewhat spies, I guess, trying to find some information or something. And it just really defined itself. I think thought it flowed well with the summer. It was kind of a good close out the summer kind of movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this might be the last. Like, we're not going to see that many good summer movies from this point on. From this point on, we've got Sinister 2, which has like a 1 on Rotten Tomato, and like freaking Agent 47. And so it's good that we have this one to kind of like close it out. But what do you guys think of the story? Like, just kind of like the mission that they were given.
It was believable.
Yeah, for me, I thought it was simple. Like it was simple enough, but not too simple.
Yeah.
Like it had enough twists and turns to keep it from being like too predictable and too boring, to have me invested still, but not to get distracted by the convolution of it. Like that was kind of nice mix up for like the spy genre. Because a lot of times, as I said, in spy movies, I'm like, you don't know which way to look. Like a lot of people like that. But for me, I'm just like, I want to kind of just enjoy this and like not get too bogged down. And I feel like that was this for sure.
Yeah.
There was some twists, but nothing's going to leave us talking and being like, can you believe that? Or anything like that, for sure.
Or nothing absurd for like the time period it was in too.
Yeah.
You know, they did a really good job with, you know, being inside the boundaries that they had for the time it was. So
yeah, no one
but still made it a lot of fun to watch. Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought the story was pretty good, but I wasn't that impressed with the story. But honestly, I thought it fit well for the movie. Like you said, it wasn't maybe the story I probably would have liked in an ideal sense for this movie, but I thought it was just good enough to be a good framework, basically to lay the meat on the you know, it was the skeleton, and I felt like it was enough.
Yeah,
it could have been better, but it was enough. And the other parts, I think, are what really filled it in and made it a quality movie.
Yeah, it was good casing to like basically bring the characters together. But if they make a sequel to this, they're gonna have to step up their game, I think, when it comes down to the story, because we already have our characters, and so.
That's a good point, actually, now that you say that. So much of a sequel really does have to be about the story, because so much of like a movie like this, it's like, wow, we get to see Armie Hammer and we get to see Henry Cavill like together on screen. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, these are really, you know, young, hip actors that are good actors, and you know,
You say hip.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It is.
Just really
They're
young
down
and
with the
hip.
times. They're not square, you know.
They're definitely a lot older than we are.
But they're kind of hot items right now.
They are. I agree.
And for them to both be together was just cool. And for the next one, it's like, okay, we've already seen that. What do you have?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's a decent point.
Yeah, a lot of times when you have like that first movie where you really like the conflict, the two characters coming together and like them figuring out their differences, it's really fun to see that. But once their differences get resolved at the end of that first movie, it's that second movie where you really have to kind of figure things out.
I think of movies like Get Smart. Like if they come out with a sequel like that, it's going to be that same kind of thing. What's the movie? I'm blanking on it. I just thought of it. Shoot. Well, Shanghai Noon. That's another one. It's like movies like this, like that the story stepped up its game a lot of times in the sequel. Shanghai Nights, I feel like the story was much more convoluted and complex. And,
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
But that is also an interesting point. They ended this movie with clearly what's going to continue into another movie.
Yeah.
I thought that's kind of ballsy.
Yeah.
They knew their movie was going to do well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And like
another one.
One thing we can talk about is Hugh Grant. He's like almost a cameo in this movie. Like I saw him in the opening credits, and I almost wish they didn't do that, because I would have been completely shocked to see Hugh Grant in this movie as the director of British intelligence. Really cool.
Yeah.
And like the setup at the end was fantastic. And like at first I thought he was gonna be a bad guy, to be honest. The way he was at that party, like I thought he was gonna be like behind it all.
You planted something on him.
Really?
Yeah, or something like that. And the way he called him out, like, oh man, I must have lost my invitation, and like looked at him all funny. I thought he had something planned. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was cool to find out that he's going to be the head of, U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
And so like that was a really cool little thing. Let's see. What are some of your favorite moments of this movie? Like what like pieces out of it? I think like standout moment for me, which had me like laughing like hardcore, was freaking Henry Cavill or whatever, Agent Solo, taking out a bottle of wine, putting a napkin in his collar, eating a sandwich.
I could tell you love that.
That was really
That's
funny.
When we were watching.
That's my humor.
That was
Jordan's
hilarious.
digging it.
Fantastic.
Just see the boat and like the mirror and stuff.
Because
The reflection.
Because I thought I
Classic
really
Italian
loved
music.
how like they're like kind of both like incompetent sometimes. Like none of them are perfect. I feel like the age of like the perfect spy and like, or like even the perfect superhero or whatever is like kind of over, because like even in like movies like Mission Impossible, you have like Ethan Hunt making mistakes, and like it's endearing when even like these people make
so
mistakes.
many movies where they don't. I guess.
Where they're perfect. Like,
Yeah.
If you want to watch that, watch a Steven Seagal movie, or what. where he never gets hit.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, no one wants to do that. But like,
Don't do that.
he's gonna come beat us up. But he can kill us all right here, right now. But I don't care how old he is. But anyways, stuff like that. It's fun because what it would be like, Agent Solo screws up, and he'd like give him crap, and then like, what's his name? Help me. Ilya. He'll screw up, and then Agent Solo will give him crap, and it's
absolutely hate working with you, cowboy.
Exactly. It's fun.
Such a pretty name, by the way. Good job, Russians.
Yeah.
Talking about how everything's really beautiful in this movie. Even what is Solo's first name? It's
I don't know.
Han?
It's
Yeah.
what is it?
It just says Solo on IMDb.
It's something very classy too. Like
David.
Yes.
John. Okay.
Napoleon. It's Napoleon, right? Napoleon Solo.
I think you're
I'm
right,
pretty sure
yeah.
it's Napoleon.
That's crazy name.
Like that's cool too.
No, that was an old TV show
Napoleon
name.
Solo.
They made up with that. But it's like the cool guy name. But
That was such
but yeah,
a
I
funny
thought that part was hilarious, and it was drawn out and like, but it was hilarious. Like,
Oh,
the entire
yeah.
way through. And then how it ended with him just like, all right.
That was definitely a gem, for sure.
absolutely.
That was
It
good.
was a really good scene.
It's probably my favorite part of the movie.
He actually messed up filming that scene too. So
Really? How so?
And when they were in the tank, when he goes to pull him out, he actually Army Hammer had a cement block, like so he would sink.
Uh-huh.
But they had divers, of course, everywhere and stuff like that. And so Henry Cavill was supposed to like come and pull him up. And I guess at one point, like there's just no way because he was supposed to somehow get unwrapped from the cement block, and he didn't. So he just dropped him. It's like, I'm going back to the surface. And I guess divers luckily were everywhere.
That was the last scene filmed from the movies. A good thing too, so they can make an entire movie because Army Hammer's gone.
Well, yeah.
Yikes.
So I think it's funny that like, you know, he had to make a decision in that moment too, and he actually did filming it. Are you done with your favorite?
Yeah.
Moment? One of my favorite moments is where they both mess up and they're talking what to do with that scientist guy, Gabby's uncle,
And they
and
cook him.
he completely fries. Like I just loved that scene because you knew like they're both figuring out what to do. They were finally like working as a team, and they screw up as a team. Like, it's the first thing they do.
What do you
Yeah.
expect?
He had a
Sorry, buddy.
way of putting,
I mean, he
like,
had
the
it
funny stuff in
coming.
the background.
Yeah.
You notice that like a lot of times when some funny things were always happening in the background, whether it's Army Hammer playing chess while what's her face is
Dancing, that was so
goofball in the
fun.
background. It's fun.
That was really fun too, and how she like started wrestling him. I was like, okay.
We're not gonna like really quick. I know
We're not
Luke
going to spoil it.
needs to get to his favorite part, but I really did like her. I found her a really likable character. She was like, I found her believable. How she was always trying to kind of like lighten the mood a lot of times, and like she wasn't like one of those tough girls in movies who are just like humorless and just like bitter and just mean. She was like just seemed like a girl I'd like to know. She was really cool.
Girl, I'd like to know.
Not. Anyways,
No, I agree. I
Better
completely
not watch
agree.
this
Gabby
podcast. That's what I
was
mean.
a really likable character and very
Yeah.
realistic and believable too in the situation she was in.
yeah,
I would
absolutely.
say she has a bright future ahead of her.
Yeah,
with this
she was
movie.
in Ex Machina, a completely different role. A movie I need to talk about at some point, but
But not at this moment.
nah, probably not. It's a can of worms. But she was good in that. She is a completely different role, but yeah, she probably does have a really nice future ahead of her acting wise. But Luke,
I think directors see movies like this, big roles, and just say, you know, I could use her on such and such a script. I won't get into it. Sorry. The whole first scene, I think, is one of the ones that just jumps out at me. Like, I literally like the entire scene. Like he enters, you know, East-West Germany. I can't remember whatever the Russian side of it is. And just like the way he goes through and then meets her, and then like just that entire escape, like I just love that. It was such a good introduction to his character and who he was. Like, I am extremely debonair, and here this is the scene to show you how I'm going to be. I'm going to be the guy who has my hand in my pocket the entire time while I take out five guys kind of guy.
yeah,
And it played off so well. And then them going off the roof, and then the guy backing up the truck, and Armie Hammer being in the minefield, which I'm not sure how he got out of that. But
Yeah, right.
he's lucky it just didn't explode as soon as he got down. But that whole scene was just, I thought, an amazing way to introduce both the characters, kind of, but mostly Henry Cavill's character solo.
Yeah, that's kind of where they showed off like how cool he was. I mean, he was obviously like intimidated by him because he just wouldn't stop. And he like pulled the trunk off the car, and he was like just super fast and super.
It was such a good intro for a movie.
Yeah,
it was kind of slow, and then it really picked up with some action. It was just like, yes, I'm gonna like this movie. Like right from there, I was ready to go.
And you learn so much about the characters too, like in that little scene also. Yeah, you totally like, about Henry Cavill and about Armie Hammer's character.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like they did a good job of like
one hand on the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
They made him like intimidating, Armie Hammer, but they did a good job at not making him too villainous in those opening scenes because Armie Hammer had so many opportunities to kill them, but he didn't take it. So it was really cool.
And Henry Cavill did too.
Oh yeah,
we just shot him in the face.
I
don't really understand why he was like dodging bullets, and then he runs right up and is like literally right here. I could just go dink.
Oh yeah, right.
He was just so intrigued. I mean, he said it like later on
wouldn't feel
when he was talking to his director, whoever that was.
Yeah,
guy from Fringe. Jones. Anyways.
Jones.
Yeah, so he was just so intrigued he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like, you were an amazing specimen.
We'll probably talk more about good stuff later, but let's go ahead and talk about the stuff we didn't like so much, the bad stuff. For starters, I'm going to go ahead and crap on the villains a little bit. They weren't bad, like terrible. We've had worse, but these aren't anything special. I liked the villainess. What's her name?
Victoria.
I liked her. She was pretty good. Like
girl from The Great Gatsby.
But like she didn't get to do that much. I feel like, like it's kind of like the thing that spy movies have a lot. Sometimes the villains are like always kind of like you get glimpses of them and you don't really understand how evil they are until like the third act of the movie, and so they don't have a lot of time to kind of show you their villainy. But like I don't know, I just didn't get her too much. But her husband was a nothing. I don't know. He showed up at the end kind of to be like a big fight, kind of. But I was like, who are you again?
His line kind of consisted of, I completely condone what's happening.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was just a pawn. I mean, but he was a pawn in the movie. Like
I'm asleep.
They said that. They were like, she's the one behind it all and he's a pawn. And so I think he served his purpose.
He did, but
so he knows
really,
little self-defense. He
wasn't like any sort of presence that I like.
He didn't have to be written that way.
No, he could have been something, they could have made an interesting character out of him if they so chose, but he was just kind of there.
Yeah. If they'd showed more of her being manipulative and controlling, I think we would have seen that.
Yeah.
Between the two of them.
They didn't need him at all. They should have
he was really cut him out and he's basically a henchman.
Yeah, if they wanted to fight at the end or something like that, just set up some awesome assassin that she has on her side. Or something like that. Because like watching that scene, I was like, "What? Can he fight? I know he can drive cars, but
you're a good driver."
So I was like, "Now am I supposed to think of him as a physical threat compared to these two?
Compared to Superman?
Compared to Superman, freaking!"
I love how I can't think of anything bad till you start talking.
Oh yeah,
because that's exactly how I was thinking. Actually, now that I think back on the movie, I was thinking like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. This guy's kind of an idiot from what we know of him, like the husband, what's his name?
The playboy. Alexander.
He's kind of an idiot playboy guy, exactly.
And here we are fighting him.
Here he is driving a truck, a big truck, and somehow he's supposed to get away, and they're going to have the nuke. Like, I just don't feel like this is a threat. We have these two super spies, one on a motorcycle, one on a beast of a car, driving through this mountain, and now he's going to get out and fight him, and it's like, I don't know. It just kind of seems silly. It seemed like he should have at least had like 35 guys with him or something that they had to like beat their way through to get the nuke. Like something a little more menacing at least.
Yeah, and it's fine because like the movie's very good. And so like little things like that is like you can forgive. Like sometimes when a movie has great, like I feel like great good guys are great villains. It's like you can always forgive one or the other if one of them's really good. And so like we really love our good guys. And so like the fact that the bad guys, the villains aren't that great, we can kind of forgive them. Marvel kind of has that thing going on, how the villains are kind of but we love our heroes so much, we're willing to, forgive it.
One thing I was thinking, like, I kind of like the Uncle Rudy guy. Like, he was like, this
What a jerk.
Doctor of Evil or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was a good idea. And then, like, the husband, he could have, excuse me, they could have rewritten it where he's like this super beastly Nazi. Like, they could have easily written it that way. She could have been the mastermind. He could have been some beast of a man that, was amazing at martial arts, or I don't know, could throw knives or something like that. And like, they don't find that out till the last minute. Oh my gosh, he's whatever, some crazy Nazi.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of the theme they kept going with. And I mean, he was just some Italian guy that was just kind of
Hey,
like,
want to go on a date with
Gucci
me?
wearing kind of guy that just didn't really do much. Like,
no. I'll tell you what. I know we're in bad stuff, but I'll tell you who the best villain of the movie is. That torturer. Like
that's
who
Uncle
he's
Rudy.
talking about. Uncle Rudy.
Oh, that was Uncle Rudy.
It was her
Yeah.
uncle.
That was her uncle.
Remember the Nazi?
Oh my gosh, I
He
didn't
was
even
like,
recognize.
Yeah.
You do not mix horse racing. I'm completely screwing it up. Remember when he says the offensive comment about race?
Yeah. I didn't even realize he was the one torturing him.
Yeah, that was Uncle Rudy.
Wow, because he made like, kind of an impression on me. I guess he just changed so completely when he started torturing Henry Cavill. It was a scary scene. I thought that was like when he starts telling the story. I thought that was effective.
That's what I'm saying. They should have gone with that theme more.
Yeah,
than
with
they did.
the
Okay, I get what you're saying.
like with
now.
the husband, they could have integrated that better into
They
it,
had big
making
Nazi
a better
ties.
villain instead of just having an
I
extra
feel like an
guy.
idiot. I didn't even realize
You
they were the
should.
same guy.
They were
should
Hitler's
feel like
right-hand
an idiot.
man. It could have easily been something like that.
Yeah.
They
But-
kept talking about Nazis.
They did. They were talking about Nazis all the time.
Well, anyways,
All day,
that
every
scene
day.
was great. The whole "let me tell you a story" and all that stuff. That was really
The
good.
picture album, I loved it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even
This page
known
is
it to
for
be the same
you.
person. Then you get sent on
All I
fire.
could think
My-
was, you're too beautiful to cut. You can't cut him up. He's too pretty.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those scenes. Here's a bad thing, but not really, I guess. But like, I don't know. But like, in those scenes, like, I do this in movies a lot of times. When I'm into a movie and I'm like super into it, and I'm actually worried about a character, like, and that's a successful thing when a movie can make me worried about one of its main characters. That's because like I'm so into the movie, I'll like forget my common sense that I know, of course, he's Henry Cavill, he's an established character, he's based on a TV show, and I think for a second that he could die.
Yep.
But in this movie, my mind starts flashing back, and I do this on purpose, and I don't mean to, but I'm so worried about the character, I'll start thinking about the trailer. And I'll think, I was like, all right,
Does he make it?
I'll think, what scene from the trailer have we not seen yet?
Oh my God.
And I thought of the
Really?
"You're a terrible spy, cowboy." I was like, oh, that hasn't happened
God.
yet. Crap. He's fine.
I'm glad I didn't think of that.
I've never done
I do
that.
that.
You spoil the movie for yourself.
I know.
I know, but maybe. I don't know.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
a
Jordan, don't do this to
self-defense
yourself.
mechanism for your
I
brain.
guess.
He'll be okay.
That's
But
why we
that's-
didn't watch any trailers for Interstellar, because we don't want to do that.
Think back. Does Matthew McConaughey? Okay, I remember that scene. That hasn't happened yet. Never mind.
God.
Now my mind goes there, and it's troubling to me. After I do it, and I realize that he'll be fine, I'm like, crap. In the movie, I'm like, dang it.
So
I
they
wish it
shouldn't
wasn't
cut
like that.
trailers with any scenes after the main climax.
I don't know.
Come on, Hollywood.
I don't know how hard I'm being on the trailer, because I thought the trailer was pretty all right, but like
Pretty all right.
I'm just ridiculous, I guess. But anyways, bad stuff. I mean, I guess I could say this. While the action was, pretty good, I didn't think they did anything crazy. Like that was like blew me away action wise.
Was it bad though? That
wasn't.
They didn't do
It
anything
wasn't.
crazy?
Well, I mean, I think like sometimes you should be trying to push the boundaries and take things a little farther. If you're gonna make an action scene in a movie, they did some cool things. Him like hydroplaning across the water, that was pretty awesome. And but I don't know. I feel like you should try to like one up the competitors. I know that's not the kind of movie this is. I would hesitate to call this an action movie because it's not.
No.
But they do action.
Yeah,
Action is done
but I would not classify it as an action movie.
No, absolutely not. Action is done, but even when if it's not an action movie, you should probably still do it well. I know Guy Ritchie can direct some good action, but it's not a huge complaint because honestly, that's not what this movie's about, and I've never felt like in the movie like the action's not good. I'm just saying it could have been better. That's all I'm saying is maybe in the sequel they'll like I don't know, think of some more impressive stuff. I don't know if you guys can disagree with that.
I would kind of go with what you were saying as a side note that I don't think it would fit in that, and I think what fits in my opinion in this kind of film is more clever action than so much like pushing the envelope.
Yeah, not like bigger explosions or anything like that.
I think things like him driving around the boat while he's eating a sandwich, to me, like that's the kind of thing that fits this film really well. And I do wish that there was maybe 2 more scenes like that, like even if they were like miniature versions of that one, but clever stuff like that to me is what makes me come back to these kind of movies. Like I want to see this movie again. Like a lot of movies like this, I'm kind of like, great, I'm glad I saw it. I'm good. But this is a movie I'm definitely ready to see again. If somebody was wanting to see it, I would definitely see this again. And to me, that's saying something because, like I said, this is a movie a lot of times I would only want to see once. And it's clever things like that that keep me coming back. And I do wish there was a little bit more of it, but I thought it had a pretty good amount.
Don't get me wrong. The things that they do in the action, I'm not trying to sound like a guy who's like, action, give me more explosions.
You want this to be Fast and Furious 8.
Yeah, no.
I gotcha.
But because like what they do in the action is great because I know the action services the story and services the characters so well and every single action scene. Every single one. I'm not going to take that away from it. I don't want them to. I don't want that to change. But because like even in that last action scene where he's like you have Henry Cavill in the car thinking his way through like how am I going to get across the lake in that thing and he thinks his way out of it and Armie Hammer is that force who has such like brawn that he just keeps going and he goes through the woods in his motorcycle and like that's super good character stuff and it's there and I think it's well done. It's good but like you know maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I'm stretching it. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm complimenting what they do in the action. I'm starting
your opinion, man.
Yeah, I'm starting to backtrack a little bit, but
you have your own opinion.
No, it's like we said. Sometimes the more you talk about something, the more you're like, man, I do really like that they do that though. But maybe
I wish there was more. I agree with you on that point.
Yeah,
I think clever fits it better, but I think there could have been more.
Yeah, maybe we can do a little bit of both. So we'll see if there is a sequel. Hopefully there is. But
just go ahead and blow up a nuke at some point. Push the envelope.
Yeah, have Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill surfing away from nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
No, please to God, no.
Triple X.
Triple X. Yeah.
Going down the mountain.
Absolutely.
The avalanche.
Things I'm gonna do for my country. Bad stuff. Anything else to say? I mean, there's some stuff. There's some stuff.
I did not particularly care for some of the music spots.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought sometimes the music, it reminded me a little bit of the Ocean's movies where it just overwhelmed the scene and it was too loud. They could have dialed it back up. Not that the music wasn't good, I just think they didn't
too much of it.
Edit it very well. Yeah, too much of it, too loud. It should have blended a little bit more. In some scenes, it should have blended more with the background and necessarily been like, bam. I feel like with how Oceans is filmed, it's perfect with Oceans, but then when other movies like this one try and do it, it just doesn't blend well.
Oceans, they literally turn everything off and the music just plays.
Yeah.
For so long.
But like that's their thing though, and you know that. So it's okay. I mean, this wasn't as bad as like Haywire, where literally all they did was play music, I feel like, in that movie.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh, his like
I hate about music.
He does that, and Guy Ritchie does do that too, but like to a lesser extent.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad or nearly as intense. I just noticed it when I was watching. I was like, oh, okay, you could dial this back. Like I thought that during the movie, so I was just like, not a huge fan of that. But it wasn't that frequent, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But that's a negative thing I thought of. I also thought the transitions when they went back to explain things could have been blended better too.
Thank you, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was a little like, wait, what? And then I was like, okay, like so. I don't know. That could have been done edited better. Also,
I have less
both times.
I have less trouble with the editing and more trouble with the fact that they felt that they had to do it because like they have the thing where gosh, what's her name? Gabby.
Gabby.
She portrays them kind of,
Mhm.
and then we have that reaction shot from Armie Hammer's character. Ilya, thank you.
I'm probably
You're the name
mispronouncing
person.
it.
Whatever, who cares? and like I knew what happened, but they felt like they had to go back.
Yeah.
And the fact that like when the whole thing where they're dropping the missile on her on Victoria, and like they felt, and then what happened literally happened seconds later, and they felt like they had to show a flashback to it. It reminded me of something that they wrote that happened in Dragon Ball Z. All right, hold on. In like Dragon Ball Z, there was this scene where like, all right, Dragon Ball Z fans unite, where Vegeta was fighting Cell, and Cell was like way too powerful, and Vegeta like throws this crazy kick with all his might, and it does like nothing to him, and he's like, oh, and then literally
it's the sound they make so much from that show.
So much, oh, and right when that happens, literally he's like reacting to it. They flash back to the kick. I'm like, we just saw it. We know, but like they flash back immediately to like Hugh Grant saying like, we have it ready or something like that. Like right when he's explaining.
Yeah,
it to
and I think they should have. Sorry,
I'm flying blind here, but I'm guessing that's from the TV show.
well,
I'm
maybe
thinking
yeah.
that's probably a device they used during the show.
I
Yeah, it's
think
from
it
a
could
lot
have
of
been
things,
done
too.
better. I don't think they should eliminate it or anything. I just think a little could have been done. It was just a little choppy for me.
It happens a
But
lot.
if it happened in the show, I mean, you want to keep it. So.
It happens a lot in Guy Ritchie movies. It happens a lot in actually the Ocean's 11 movies, where they'll put blindfolds on the audience temporarily, and then they'll take them off and you'll be like, what happened? And then they'll take you back in the movie to reveal, this is what they were doing. It's supposed to be that aha
But
moment.
they put like
think I really
the
like that.
things. I mean, I like it a lot in Oceans, but they put what was happening sort of in the background and then put what actually happened actually as a subject. Whereas this, they were actually going back to what was happening and then just putting in almost those missing pieces.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like,
I kind of enjoyed that.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah,
but, like,
it wasn't
for
bad.
it to
It
be
just-
a moment where it's like ta-da or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, I know what you're doing. I knew that. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't that like much of a. I knew you were gonna bomb her. I knew that she betrayed you or whatever. That's why you're running. And that's why you had the crazy reaction. It's all there.
See, I kind of like that. I knew that, and then it was replaying. It was like,
I knew
yeah,
it.
finally, this freaking lady gets it.
It was a gratifying moment because she's gloating, and then we have it. It was a satisfying moment.
it was very satisfying. And like I said, I wouldn't want them to take it out. I just think it could have been done a little bit smoother. My next negative thing is more. I wish they had more Hugh Grant, and maybe they will. Obviously, it was a setup for hopefully a sequel, but I really would have liked to see more of Hugh Grant's character and probably less of whoever the American director was. Wasn't a fan of Jones in this movie.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan of Hugh Grant. I'm looking forward to seeing him if he's in the sequel. I like him in most things.
I like him as an actor.
Yeah, he's good.
Not
But
as a guy.
I don't know him
I'm
as a
just
guy.
gonna go ahead and put that out there.
All right, that's fine. I don't really know what he did or whatever. But yeah. Any other things now that we're here on the bad before we move into whatever the heck we want to talk about?
No, I mean, those are the main
I can't
things for me.
criticize it anymore. I love it.
It's so great. And I second what Luke said. Like, I'm gonna see this movie again. And I want to watch it again. I'll probably buy it. Like, it was a very enjoyable, fun movie. It's a movie I'd want to show other people.
Here's something bad. Where's the sequel? I'm ready for another one already.
I just really hope they make it.
The Man from Ant.
Like Straight Outta Compton really just like
That was
nailed
funny.
it. We didn't see that movie, but like
Where's
we
the-
really hope this movie gets the appreciation that it should have. I mean, I feel like people should be, taking the people who haven't seen it to see this movie. I think it's,
Make enough money so you make another one.
yeah, it's a movie. It is a movie I would show most people, like maybe not young kids, because they just probably wouldn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, pretty much anyone. I'll show any of my friends this,
Definitely.
and I can have confidence
General audience
that
movie.
yeah, that they'd be like, that was good, that was a solid movie. Like
Not
to
a
some
G,
extent.
but general
No,
audience.
absolutely not.
Just, I mean, it's great in the sense of that lightheartedness about it. It's one of those movies when you can't decide what to watch would be a good movie to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I don't know what else to say about it negative wise. I'm kind of with you. I mean, I feel like we've kind of said all of that. And like, it's one of those movies that, these things, like right after seeing it, not really thinking about it too much. I'm just kind of thinking, oh, that was a good time.
That's a good time.
Yeah,
It was.
you know, it's not like I'm not like blown away, going, oh, I'm just like satisfied. It left me satisfied. That's a good way to say it. I'm like,
It was very pleasant.
very pleasant watch. Yes, very relaxing. What? No. Anyways, anything else about this movie you want to bring up at all? Just little moments here and there, whatever. I don't know.
I really liked, and maybe this is from the show too. I'd be interested to go back to see it, but I really liked how Solo talked.
Yeah,
I really liked it. It was different. You know, it's definitely something that's a little bit more unique, and it was almost like he was bored with what he was doing, but you know he was interested in it.
That's when you know a guy's cool. And he's bored with something awesome.
I feel like a lot of people might think that he's like
Very matter-of-fact.
overly cool. Like I know a lot of people might be like, "Oh, good try," but I was into it. I was like, he is cool. It's a voice you don't hear put on a lot. It's a voice we've heard. It's a voice that has appeared in probably 60s movies where there's that suave guy, but you don't really hear that voice very often. That American old school American voice that isn't that isn't overly proper, but isn't like a hick or like a ruffian or something like that. It's a really weird, like in the middle.
It's a very cool and confident, but not as egotistical as it could be. Draw, like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's different. It's more unique and it keeps you captivated.
How about this? It is the American. I know Henry Cavill's British. I know, but it's the American version, I think, of what Benedict Cumberbatch does a lot in his stuff.
Okay.
Can you go with me on that?
Yeah, I can go with you on that. I can.
All right.
Yep, I can support that. I did.
You're insane.
Okay, never mind. You got to take it back.
Luke is not. Depending on what character he's playing.
Yeah.
But he can. Benedict Cumberbatch should have been in this movie.
You should have let me sleep.
As what? Never mind.
You should have let me sleep.
Not
That's what you mean?
That one.
Oh, Con.
Oh.
Spoiler
So
for
angry.
Star Trek.
I don't care
They
anymore.
don't know what we're talking about.
Now they do.
No, they do. Who cares? But anywho, yeah, want to go on to ratings.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Luke, what would you rate?
So good.
So good.
Our rankings.
It gets
now.
an 8 from me.
It's an 8. All right.
It's a solid 8 for me too.
Oh God.
No, I was just like, here's the
There's
thing.
an awful pause.
No, here's the thing. I'm giving it an 8
Here's the
too.
thing.
Because it's one of those things where it's like saying an 8 across the board is so boring. So I was thinking about, I just couldn't.
Go with your heart.
That's the thing. It has to be an 8. I couldn't
you.
bear to give it a 7.5 because I just was like, that doesn't feel right. And an 8.5 is a bit much, but an 8, like that was great, like all around great time.
We're
Well,
gonna purchase this movie.
I feel like nothing in this movie that happens that was like amazing. There's no moments where it's like that was a 9 out of 10 moment. But it's one of those things where it's like the whole is better than like the sum of its parts things, where just, you enjoy it so completely, it just makes it great.
There's a way IGN does their game reviews. Same thing as we do, 10 with decimals, but then they also put a word next to it. You know this, you've seen it. And I believe, if I'm remembering right, 8 is very good, 9 is excellent, and 10 is perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what this movie was. It
Yeah.
was very
good.
Yeah,
It's not excellent, not perfect, but it was very good.
Very good.
absolutely. Very recommendable, very satisfying. There's something I want to talk about, Manisha.
Okay.
You clearly like this movie way better than a little movie I'd like to call Rogue Nation.
No,
But you famously gave a 6.5.
Famously.
You only say that because of the
Famously.
rating I gave it. If
Absolutely, I
if
do.
I hadn't said that, I still
So
think
why did you hate that one?
Rogue Nation was a very enjoyable movie. It was very different from this movie.
Yes.
And I think, I probably, like, this movie, I didn't have any expectations
We didn't have
for.
Ghost Protocol to compare this movie to now, did we?
But with the last Mission Impossible, not only do you have Ghost Protocol, but you have all the other previous Mission Impossible. So you have a little bit of an expectation. And it just...
You can't judge a movie on what came
And
before.
I know, but I just...
But that's exactly what you're doing.
I stick to my rating of a 6.5 until I see it again.
Ghost
So
Protocol.
the man from Ant better
Ghost
watch out. Because Manisha's going to be judging. You just got that? That was my joke earlier.
Yeah, I said it earlier.
I didn't hear it earlier.
Man for man.
Oh no.
My gosh.
People
who
Rogue
watch the old
Nation
show
was a
are
great
probably
movie.
so mad at me.
It wasn't.
Let's move on.
Why would you even bring this up?
I'm sorry,
had to.
people who watch the old TV show.
I'm sorry.
Probably sound like a fool.
So
It's worth. Rogue Nation is. I wouldn't buy necessarily Rogue Nation on Blu-ray. I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray. Like I also put that. Like if I wanted to sit down, have a good laugh, have some action, have some intriguing.
Rogue Nation, everybody.
Good.
All right, so that's the review that we just had. No. All right, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. As we kind of said, I don't think we're gonna have a movie that we're gonna do a spoiler cast in a good while. I mean, what comes next?
I'm just looking at your arm.
Good question. I just looked at this list
that?
recently. I'm not sure.
I have the
Wearing
summer
anything.
movie schedule tattooed on my forearm.
So what comes next, guys?
Sinister 2,
I don't
American
wanna see that.
Ultra, Hitman,
What's American Ultra?
Grandma.
It's like
Ooh,
Jesse
don't do that.
Eisenberg and
She's funny to
Kristen
no.
Stewart get high and they fight people.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. Let's not.
They don't have any more on this list.
Well, we're on the wrong list. Okay, I can't even think of anything like
Not
that's
anything that
opening
I'm
this week.
super excited for. You know?
opening this
Z for
week.
Zachariah.
Not seeing it in
That's
theaters.
one that I'm interested in.
I'm interested.
Don't know
in
if
it.
I'll see it in theaters, but I'm definitely interested in it.
So don't hold your breath for a spoiler cast next month.
Transporter Refueled.
Not
I think
seeing
that
it.
looks terrible.
Is Jason
Not
Statham in
seeing
it?
No, he's not.
Absolutely not.
All right, what else we have? This isn't looking good so far.
Everest.
Everest comes out. I'm still not sure. It
Totally
depends
not
on
seeing
what
that.
it is.
Black Mass.
Oh, Black Mass, maybe.
I'm probably gonna see that one in
We'll see,
theaters.
listeners. All right.
When is that opening? Don't
Um,
have dates. I'm sorry.
oh well, whatever. Just keep naming movies.
Sicario.
All right.
That's
I
an
don't
Emily
even know what
Blunt,
that
John
is.
Bernthal movie.
All right, big ones. Big ones. Who cares about that one?
Captive.
Captive.
That's
These
pretty
are all
good.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I will be seeing Hotel Transylvania too. I'm a big fan of the first one. So I might just be me and Joe on that one, but we'll see. I don't even know if Joe is into that.
I thought Hotel Transylvania
That
was very
was
cute.
All
September.
right, there you go.
These
Well,
are by months.
last
Victor
spoiler
Frankenstein's
cast of-
October.
Summer 2015.
Yeah, this is the last spoiler.
This was a good movie to end it on. I'm glad you guys didn't end it on Fantastic
Oh
Four.
my god.
What if that had been the one you guys
We
ended
are all
on?
glad. we did
Yeah,
not
so
end
this
on
was
that.
this was a
Thank
good,
you.
happy, positive note.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. is elevated so much by
Absolutely.
coming after Fantastic Four. I'm not saying that affected my score, but I'm just saying it was so satisfying to see a good movie after being completely devastated.
So I guess this is our goodbye to summer 2015.
Yeah,
Bye. Goodbye, summer.
it's been real. Now
You've
into the
brought
fall.
us joys. You've brought us pain.
Yeah, all pretty much the
Thank
majority
you
of that
for
pain coming
Age
from
of
Fantastic
Ultron.
Four.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
We
didn't see
appreciate that,
Fantastic
Gem.
Four, so I didn't get that pain.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Stay away.
I'll see it when it comes on Netflix.
Really?
Thank you for Mission
Probably.
Impossible.
Yeah,
Right.
Mission Impossible was good.
Absolutely.
Go back and watch our spoiler cast on these movies,
There's
or
a lot.
see these
Yeah.
movies. Please
See them, support
Except for
them.
Fantastic Four.
don't see Fantastic Four.
Don't talk in a movie theater.
Don't talk in a movie theater. Darn it.
Right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you like video games out there, we're doing Let's Plays now. We're venturing into a whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes.
Can we do Let's Play with Dominoes?
No.
What?
Okay.
That's not.
Take
board
it to the
games.
board games. All right, no.
We're working our way through Halo 2. Me and Jordan got 2 videos up.
Absolutely.
We have a little how-to on our mic setup.
Oh my gosh. It's an adventure.
If you're interested
so
at all in
please
that kind of thing,
forgive us in our journey of audio. We're going to get to perfection.
trying to
eventually.
bring you quality.
Absolutely. Me and Carrie are doing a Let's Play series called Carrie Learns Minecraft, where we teach him how to survive in a world of zombies and blocks. And we'll have a bunch of random stuff too.
We're going to be entering a huge fall, and hopefully we're going to be bringing you some videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of games to play. Battlefront, for one thing.
Heck
My
yeah.
goodness, can't wait. Very soon, though, in about a week, I'm going to be playing Black Ops 3, hopefully with Jordan.
Wow,
but
that's soon. It's
if
crazy.
not, at least by myself. The beta is coming out. The game's not going to be out yet, but the beta is coming out. I'm going to pre-order it and bring you guys some videos so you'll have some first look stuff.
Mhm.
See what's coming out. See what's coming out in the old Call of Duty world.
So
Ooh.
stay tuned. We're gonna have all this stuff kind of exporting from Twitch to YouTube. So you want to follow us on Twitch to get it kind of
Yeah,
live? Go
Join
ahead.
the chat room. Tell us
Interact.
all about it.
and that'll be a lot of fun. So if you want to follow us in all of our exploits and all of our adventures, you can follow us on Twitter at MTGPod. If you can stand reading texts that come from the fingers of Joe, in your face, Joe.
It's a tough thing.
I just really insulted you on the podcast.
Such a burn. So good.
Oh yeah, I know, it was really good. Or you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGPodcast or on YouTube/MTGPodcast and just enjoy the good times. And
Just keep viewing our videos over and over again.
Yeah.
have them on repeat when you go home, when you go to work. Just have them.
Just play them for your family in the living room.
Waste all of your data while you're at work on your phone. Oh yeah, comment and stuff. We'd love to interact with you guys.
Very much so.
Yeah, we're all about it. So yeah.
Show.
Thanks.
Well, guys, no, I'm not doing it. All right, I'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.